This is the Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Leagues Club, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, Bo Cook from Loan Market, BTZD, the official apparel partner of the Paracave Podcast, and the Parramatta Times, the official media partner of the Paracave Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. Troy Warner here, and Rugby League isn't finished for the year. There is the Pacific Championships, which is a international rugby league competition, and it's great to see some international rugby league being played at the end of the NRL season. It just means that the rugby league is around for a little bit longer this year, which is great. And we have the Pacific Cup, which in the men's, and also the Pacific Bowl as well. Now, the teams competing in the men's side of the draw, we have playing for the Pacific Cup, we have the Kangaroos of Australia, the New Zealand Kiwis, and the Samoans as well, last year's World Cup finalists. And in the Pacific Bowl, we have the Cook Islands, the Fiji side, and the PNG Kumals as well. Now, in the women's side of the draw, we both have the Pacific Cup as well, being played between the Jillaroos of Australia, the Kiwi Ferns of New Zealand, and the Tongan women's side as well. And in the Pacific Bowl, we have the Cook Islands, Samoa, Fiji, and the PNG Orchids as well. So some great international teams there, which no doubt will have some great matches being played, and certainly looking forward to seeing if anyone can beat the Australian side, as you would think that they will probably go in as favourites, although a lot of people are talking up the Samoan side as well, which hosts a few of the Penrith Panthers premiership winning sides. So look, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Now, it all kicks off tomorrow, which is Saturday, and at 6:05pm, with the first game being played between the Jillaroos and the Kiwi Ferns in the women's side of the draw. And look, this is going to be a great game. Some very talented players in both sides. You would think that Australia would go in as favourites. They've got the reigning Dally M medalist Tamika Upton in at the fullback position, making her debut. It's a pretty good centre combination with Jessica Sergis and Isabel Kelly. Ali Brigginshaw, captain. She's been there many times before, and captaining this side as well, so experience is there. Shannon Marto and Jessica Elliston from the Gold Coast Titans had a great season this year. The Titans made the grand final, so they're well deserving their spots as well. And Samaima Taufa at lock as well, so she has played very many games for the Jillaroos before, and is very experienced at this level, and you will not see a bad game out of Samaima. She is a workhorse, so she gets the tackles done, she gets the hit-ups done. Great player, Samaima. I'm very disappointed that she left Parramatta and joined the Raiders, but it's exciting to see her play some great football. Speaking of the Eels, Kennedy Cherrington from the Parramatta Eels makes the interchange bench as well. So, look, there's some great players that missed out there. Lauren Brown, Emma Manzelman, Keely Joseph as well missed out on the reserves bench. So it's a pretty good-looking Australian side. Over the other side, in the New Zealand side, Anessa Biddle from the Cronulla Sharks, the Rookie of the Year there. She makes her space on the wing there. and Ash Quinlan as well in the 5/8 position with Ray C. McGregor, who is the captain of the New Zealand Kiwi Ferns. So, look, some great players there as well. Obviously, great rivalry. I think the Australians will get the job done in that game. Then the second game tomorrow night is the Australian Kangaroos versus Samoan side. Now, this is a replay of the World Cup final played last year. Both of these games have been played at Queensland Country Bank Stadium up in Townsville. Now, to start off with the Australian side, James Tedesco in at fullback position. Dylan Edwards makes his debut on the wing in the place of the suspended Josh Addo-Carr. So congratulations, Dylan, on making your Australian debut, actually giving up his brother's wedding to represent Australia. So he's obviously in a bit of a sticky situation there, having been called up to the Australian side, and he's got his brother's wedding. So a little bit of a sticky situation, as I said, and something that is a very difficult thing to choose by, but I'm sure his brother gave him his blessing to play for Australia and represent Australia, because it's a very deserved position in the Australian side. A lot of conjecture whether James Tedesco will be there, but in my opinion, he is the reigning captain of the side, the current captain of the side, so he deserves that fullback spot as long as he wants it, as long as he's playing representative football, I guess. So my guess is he might retire after next year's Origin series from representative football. We'll just have to wait and see, but interesting there, but at least Dylan gets his shot. Katoni Staggs in the centre as well, with Selwyn Cobbo on the wing, making their debuts for Australia. Very experienced halves combination. Cameron Munster, Daly Cherry Evans. Daly Cherry Evans becomes the oldest Australian halfback to play for Australia, so I'm sure he probably wouldn't want to be known as that, but it's still a record, I guess. But he holds that halfback position. Payne Haas and Big Tino Fasul Malawi in at props. That's some pretty big units there. Ben Hunt in at hooker. Cameron Murray, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo. So pretty formidable bench as well, with Harry Grant, Lindsay Collins, Pat Carrigan and Ruben Cotter as well. Ruben Cotter is actually playing this game on Saturday up at Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville, his home ground for the Cowboys. And then he is also getting married on the Sunday. So a bit of a rushed, well, I wouldn't say rushed, but it's going to be an interesting weekend for him too. So he would be hoping, or his fiancée would be hoping, he doesn't cop any black eyes in this game. Otherwise, it'd be a good permanent reminder for the wedding photos, no doubt. Either that or a little bit of makeup will have to be used on Ruben's face to cover that up. But a busy weekend for him nevertheless, and congratulations on the upcoming wedding and also playing for Australia. Busy weekend, that's for sure. The Samoan side, as I said, has a few of the premiership winning Panthers: Isaac Tungo, Brian To'o, Stephen Crichton, and who's actually playing, and Spencer Linu as well, who's off to the Roosters next year. He's on the interchange bench, but an interesting selection there. Stephen Crichton at 5'8". Never played 5'8" in the top grade before, I don't believe. So an interesting selection there. Just have to wait and see how he goes, but he's a pretty good athlete, pretty good player, most known for centre, can play fullback, obviously the wing as well, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But Brian To'o up against Dylan Edwards, that'll be an interesting game there to see who gets out on top, and I'm sure Dylan will be wanting his centre partner to try and wrap up Brian, because I'm sure Brian will probably try and run over the top of him, but that'll be interesting to see what happens there. So Junior Paulo, he'll captain the side up at prop after his boxing match on the Battle on the Reef. So a busy off-season for Junior. So look, this side has got some interesting players in it as well. Terrell May from the Roosters, he had a good season for them, exciting player. We've all seen what Spencer can do as well when he comes on the field for Penrith, so good to see what we've all seen that. So he'll inject a bit of venom, I guess, into the Samoan pack. Stefano Utokumanu as well, and at prop got a little bit of a taste of State of Origin football this year as well, so they'll have some confidence out of making the World Cup final last year and really sort of giving it to the Aussies, but they are a team to watch. They are a team on the rise, although I do think that Australia will get the job done in this one and kick off their campaign with a win. On the Sunday at 1:45 p.m, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. This game is played up in Port Moresby, so we all know what the PNG crowds are like up there for Rugby League. Now, this game's being played by Samoa and Fiji, so look, even though PNG isn't playing in this game, I'm sure there'll still be a massive crowd there watching this game because they just love their rugby league. So some interesting players in both sides. Look, there's a lot of these players that play in the NRLW during the year as well. I'm going to tip on the back of the Samoans in the men's game. I'm going to tip the Samoans in this game to win over the Fijians. In the second game up in PNG at Santos National Football Stadium, 4 p.m, we have PNG taking on the Cook Islands in a game in the Pacific Bowl Challenge. So look, Alex Johnson at fullback for the PNG side, Lachlan Lamb in at halfback. They're probably Jack DeBella making his debut for PNG at lock as well. Has some heritage going back to PNG, so he's making his debut for the Kumals, which will be good for them. Bit of experience there. Now, Justin Olam, probably one of the most noted players for PNG at the moment. He's on the reserves bench, 21 in jumper number 21, so very tough for him not to make this side. We all saw during the year he had his struggles to get into the Melbourne first grade squad. He played a couple of games late in the year in the finals for Melbourne, but he has struggled to get into this PNG Kumul side. So look, we all know that the Kumals are very tough in defence. They hit hard. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes if in front of their home crowd. So they'll want to get the win there. Look, the Cook Islands as well, they've played in World Cups before. Brad Takarangi is the captain and 5'8", so he's probably the most notable player in that side. Zane Tedavano, interesting story. He's coming back after having a stroke about 5 months ago, so interesting one there. He's coming back to play for them. Makahesi Makatoa in at prop is also probably a more notable player as well, plays for the Parramatta Eels. So interesting game, this one, between two of the, I guess you could call, not so powerhouses in rugby league. They do play an exciting game of footy. I think this game will be a high scoring game. I think there'll be a lot of points in this game. I'm going to tip the PNG Kumals to get this win. Sorry, Taka. I'm going to tip the Kumals in this game. So that's what's happening this weekend in the Pacific Championships. For the men's and the women's. So just to clarify those tips, it'll be the Kangaroos and the PNG sides in the men's, and it'll be the Australian Jillaroos and Samoa in the women's side. So just those games being played tomorrow, Saturday, and also Sunday as well. Then next weekend we have another 4 games, 2 each in the men's and the women's, and then the week after as well, and then some finals. So be back next Friday as well for a preview of next weekend's games between the men's and the women's competitions there, and it'll be interesting to see this weekend's games. So enjoy your rugby league. Now, I do believe that it will be broadcast on Channel 9 and Foxtel and KO as well, so you'll be able to catch that one on those stations. I'm not 100% sure about radio, but I'm sure some radio station will pick it up, but you can watch it there, so your usual locations. So enjoy your International Rugby League on the weekend, and I will be back next week with a review of the games this weekend, and also a preview of the next weekend's games in the Pacific Championships. Thank you very much for listening, and enjoy your footy.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. See you next time.